Whoa. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Constructors Championship. This is the penultimate round, actually, with next week being the final one. And yeah, that's us at Suzuka. I'm Josh. With me is, well, who are you?
My name's Eddie, and I'm the BMW reserve driver, actually. Obviously, all four normal drivers are currently in the race, so I'm in the comms box.
Yeah, unlucky for Eddie. So yeah, he's
Yeah,
stuck with me, and
exactly.
hopefully we get Lammers back as well in a bit, so he can join us with the commentary as well. Um, but yeah, currently we're watching qualifying go around. We've got 10.5 minutes left, roughly, of qualifying, and currently looking at Nicholas Krauss in the 911 Porsche, saying some times. But yeah, it's a bonus round for Honda, at Honda and Co. So, what do you think, Eddie? Do you think they have a strong chance here?
I think they do, yeah. I think the Honda is one of the stronger cars at this track, so they've probably got a good chance of raking in a lot of points. But I don't know, the Lexus as well. Lexus is pretty good at this track as well, so I don't know, we'll see.
Yeah, it seems like all the Japanese cars are quite strong around here, aren't they?
Yeah, who would have thought?
Especially being developed. Yeah. Um, but yeah, also with us is Nicholas. So I'm getting all the names wrong tonight. With us is Racer Soul. Sorry, just everyone's popping in and out right now. Yeah, Racer Soul. How are you finding tonight? How do you think it's going to go?
If Rodek does not win by about 10 seconds, I'm gonna be disappointed.
Yeah, Radek's shown amazing pace. I mean, I think it was nearly half a year ago where he did for Honda in that kind of more stepped up series what RWB did. It must have been 6 months ago, and he did for Honda for a laugh. Did Suzuka, absolutely dominated the lower tier and got immediately bumped up and still dominated in the upper tiers. So he just seems to be at home in that Honda. So I agree with you. I'm going to be super disappointed if Schuller doesn't pull something out of the hat here. But yeah, Eddie, you're a reserve driver. You've been driving ACC more than I have, especially recently.
Yeah.
We've got Radek, a guy who's hopefully going to get pole tonight. Probably win. Do you want to take us through a lap as he goes around?
Sure, okay. So he's coming down the main straight to start the lap. Wants to try and get as good a round to here as he can. Oh, okay, no, he's actually boarding his lap. That's a great start. He's just going to the pits.
Right, I found Crawford.
He found someone else. Oh, Crawford, here we go. Okay, just coming through the first sector. This quite challenging S's section. You've got to be very particular with where you place your car to get the best time. Coming out now, long left hand, they're coming into Degner 1. You've got to be careful not to take too much curb here, can very easily unsettle the car. He seems to have missed the curb entirely there, that's great. Through to Degner 2, under the bridge, coming out to the hairpin now. Again, you've got to be very careful not to outbrake yourself here. He's done a good job getting it into the apex. Getting a good run now. Long right-hander again, coming out towards Spoon. Yeah, there we go. Double left-hander, quite tricky. The second braking point is quite a tricky one to get. Seems to have done it okay there. And now we've got another straight coming up to 130R.
Yeah, this lap opened to DRS, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Very quick corner. Here we go, just a little downshift and chuck it in. And then into the very tight chicane. Obviously the exit is really important because you want to get the best run you can to the main straight. And there we go, hops over the curbs, coming down to the finish line. What's it going to be?
Only a 2:05. Wow, that's pretty piss poor, Crawford. Got to step it up, mate.
It's not the best time I've ever seen, no.
But yeah, luckily it's a long track, so there doesn't seem, well, there shouldn't be that much clumping up, but we are seeing a couple of groupings currently. For those who are watching and want to see the track maps, so you can see the clumpings, you can see when people go into the pits, all the data as well, timings and all that crap. Well, I shouldn't say crap, all the good stuff. You can go see pitwall.live. Link is in the description on YouTube. And yeah, that'll also get you all the data and insights that we're seeing currently on screen in front of us. But yeah, I'm surprised to see Radek's not in P1. It seems to be, is that an Aston up in P1 of
Yeah,
Aston Apostle?
Martin. Yeah.
Ah, maybe just sandbagging a little bit.
Aye.
It could be.
Trying to give the opponent at least a small chance. But I actually don't know what is the championship currently looking like.
I'm glad you brought that up because I've been prepared this time. I've actually pulled up the standings in front of me. So Radek is comfortably in the lead by a good 60 points ahead of everyone else. So James Lacey sits in P2 with the iconic duo with two McLaren drivers, Emo Plate and Samuel Kruger. They sit in P3 and P4. But yeah, Radek's, I mean, Honda still haven't had their double points, their bonus round, along with their sister team Mercedes. So Mercedes, they're still fighting for that P6 position with Lamborghini and Bentley, trying to stay ahead of Aston as well. But yeah, Honda, I reckon, if they can keep it clean and get some good points in tonight, good positions, they'll definitely be in P1 ahead of Lexus tonight. But I guess we'll see what happens next week in the final round.
They might have played a blinder by saving up their double points round for one they know they're going to do well at. Yeah, we'll have to see.
Yeah, the same thing happened in the last season when McLaren was the only constructor yet to have their bonus round, and it was looking quite good. I could say really good for the DMV group. But McLaren just managed to sneak in the crucial few points in the last race of the season that was their double points. So
yeah,
it hurt.
It really does hurt. Yeah, it really does hurt when you think you're leading the championship comfortably, and then someone gets a bonus round. It's like, oh wait, never mind. Now they're comfortably 400 points in the lead compared to us.
It wasn't even that. It was like 50 points.
Oh, that's pretty close then, to be fair. But yeah, it does kind of sting when someone like the team that have their bonus round at the very end kind of comes out of nowhere. You know, you see the standings, you're like, yeah, we're ahead. This is nice, this is comfortable, and then suddenly, boom, Honda comes up out of nowhere and nabs P1.
When you least expect it.
Honda be like, konnichiwa?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like. But yeah, we've still got three-ish minutes left on the clock of qualifying. Still no change. Although it's super close up at the top, there's 3 thousandths separating Apostle and Schuller. Yeah, that is extremely close between those two. 3 thousandths. Wow. What can you do in 3 thousandths of a second?
Maybe blink.
I was going to say blink as well. That's weird.
I was going to say pleasure a woman, but yeah, we all know that's not true.
F. Press F, boys.
Yeah, lots of Fs, please.
Yeah.
I reckon I could finish a cigarette in 3 thousandths. Just one.
Really
just
like
really go for it.
suck it down.
just ruin my lungs.
Yeah.
You could drink a shot, but you would have to be really fast with that.
Oh, you
Yeah,
basically
yeah.
suck it down.
Yeah.
There is a Russian guy that can do that for sure.
There's probably someone here who could do it. Racing right now, they're probably doing shots while driving.
Hey, to be fair, I finished top 10 in the Saturday League after having a glass of rum. There might be some correlation with that.
I've always been saying I drive better drunk.
RWB does not enforce any types of driving under influence of drugs, alcohol, or any kind of other stuff.
Yeah,
It's
that's what
Sort of
the
experiment. Should do an
well, that's what
experiment
the
on
policeman
ACC.
said when I. That's what the policeman said when he pulled me over. He said, "Yeah, we can't really condone that behaviour, but oh well, it is what it is."
They pulled you over because you were driving so well. They were like, "Oh,
They're like, "Whoa, we have to slow
I'm
him
so
down."
impressed." Yeah.
Don't worry, I haven't actually driven drunk. That's one line I won't cross.
Look, I'm always thinking like I would like to experience it somehow in a safe manner.
Are you gonna
Like
try
when you
beer
are,
goggles?
Like on the sim.
you know, but it's not a sim is sim, but it's not comparable to real life when you are behind the car. And, like what happens that way?
That is true.
But let's get back to the qualifying because it seems like we are almost finished.
Yeah, everyone's going to be finishing their laps now. We've got one car that's just made it across the line to start their final lap. But yeah, we're currently looking at Don Jordan, of number 69 Lexus Giggly, and he's going round in P16, so he seems comfortably midfield. And you know, midfield's not a bad thing, especially with the first corner here. It catches a lot of people off guard in lap one.
Oh, midfield is the worst thing, man. You can't trust anyone.
Except
You
for
know,
RWB drivers, because we drive safe.
yeah, but it's
Oh.
like the Spider-Man meme pointing at each other, but instead of fingers, they are holding guns. That's literally the midfield.
Aye. It's always entertaining for us, but yeah.
Not so much when you're
If,
in the thick of it.
yeah, exactly. Although we've got that Suzuka Big Grid, for anyone watching who wants to join in, that's coming up soon, so plenty of action during that, I think.
105 cars.
Yeah, I
that's
remember the
in a
last
week.
one with 80. That was mental.
Yeah.
I guess it's next week on Wednesday, I suppose.
I believe it is, yeah. Jordan there just... I think he's just finished all his laps, hasn't he? Pulling off to the side.
Yeah, jumps in nicely into P9.
Where'd that lap come from? Got Dominik Mizujewski abandoning his lap, and yeah, that's us finished qualifying. That wasn't too bad actually. Didn't see anything horrendous during that.
Who do we have on pole then?
Well, I'm glad you asked.
I'm asking all of the correct questions tonight.
You really are. We'll just so we've got Sebastian Apostel in the number 17 Aston Martin. He's currently on pole position, with Radek Schuller lining up alongside him in the Honda. In P3, we then have James Lacey with Crawford Brown in P4. Well, Crawford really steps up for once.
Well, we have
Good
a
performance.
new name then for the top 10 because I don't remember seeing Apostol at any point during the league. So looks like a good first impression from him.
Yeah,
It
definitely.
might be a new Aston Martin driver.
Ooh, maybe a reserve. I guess we'll find out tonight.
Well, yeah, I guess we will.
In P5, we have Kai Banks in the number 34 Mercedes, with Emo Plates lining up alongside him in P6. Nicholas Kraus sits in P7 with Daniel Barnett in P8, Don Jordan in P9, and Samuel Kruger rounding off the top 10. Rock Kopp sits in P11 with Simon Turbovsek sitting alongside, Marco Badowski behind them alongside Nate Newcomer. Sergio R. Lemke sits in P15 with Dominik Mizujewski sitting in P16. Matt Hegum is in P17 in the number 16 with Casper Nielsen in the number 13 sitting in P18. Edo Kops in P19 with Debug sitting in P20. Oh wow. Mitch Miladinov. Hang on, let me go again.
Miladinovic.
That one. The number 58 car sits in P21 alongside the FIA head Damien Wilk in P22. Magnus Dahlgren sits in P23 with Hugo Gomez in 24th. Seb Terence Helvich sits in P25 with Xavier Eugeni as normal in the BMW. He sits in P26 with Al Gartner in P27. Mad Al follows alongside with Kevin Shepherd in P29. Gianni Lenz in P30, with Simon Tribec and Mats Joblom bringing up the rear in P31 and P32 respectively. I need to get better at pronouncing these names. So yeah, we've got a minute until the race starts. It's quite a long run up towards the start line because they start right before 1:30R. So it's a hefty lap, and it means your tires do cool down quite a bit.
With the names, you might think you got it all nailed, and then just Poland arrives.
Yeah, it really. I thought I did well with Mizraczewski, but no. I get stuck on Mladenovic. Did I get that right? I feel like I got that right. I'm going to take that as a win.
As good as a British person can be.
Yeah, no, that's I'll take that. That's a win for me.
That's what you aim for.
All I have to do is yell it louder, and then it's completely fine. Pronunciation is flawless if you yell it as loud as you can.
Yeah.
It's not German.
Or French or Italian, or we just yell in English, and people will understand at some point. It's the most Anglo thing you can say.
Yeah.
I don't think that's how it works, but okay. As we are rolling on the warm-up half lap.
Honda in a good position here, I have to say. Second and fourth on the grid.
Yeah, they get the outside line into T1.
Watch out for Shula because his starts are ballistic. He's like a rocket from the start line, so he might take the lead even not before the turn 1.
Yeah, I think that's very possible. From my experience, the Aston Martin is not very good at starts, so it'll be interesting to see.
Well, it won't be too long until we see them now coming onto the start-finish straight, and that's them starting now. Oh no, that's a cheeky start from the Aston, jumping the gun a little bit. That's them about to head up onto the start line now, crossing it any second now, and it's a very late green light. And there we go, that is green light. And away we go for 25 minutes here at Suzuka. Into turn 1 they go, following Nicholas Kraus currently in the Porsche. 2 Porsches lying side by side. Looks clean so far. Going through, I've not seen anything pop up, but yeah, going side by side. We've got McLaren getting sideways slightly. That looks like MO plate, but he keeps it nice and tucked in and gets back in line. It looks like Radek Schiller has managed to stay in P2. However, Apostle is still ahead of him. Everyone filing through nicely now as they go through the S's.
Ooh. Looks to be a pretty clean start so far, actually.
Oh, you say that.
Seeing a few yellow flags, actually. Spoke too soon.
You just had to ruin it. Around the outside goes a BMW of Sebosets. Oh, and that's sideways on the exit of Degner 1, which is so precarious there. But we've still got racing going ahead with the Lamborghini going round the McLaren, it looks like. So yeah, it's a good move by the Lambo, taking full advantage of the evasive manoeuvres having to be taken by the McLaren. But yeah, that's mental.
The BMW was probably Trebuszek was in P11 by looks of it. Just tried to hang it on the inside, but the inside curb at Degner, it's really deadly. Like, you try to go over that, you jump, and then the car just is at the mercy of whatever happens. Audacious move, but...
100%. The Hondas are looking fairly strong. We've got 2 of them up there, but look at the Porsches. We've already got 3 of the Porsches up in the top 8 positions already. So they're having an absolute great time around here. It's kind of weird to see. I always thought the Porsches would slightly struggle around here because there's a lot of high speed kind of straights, and they don't tend to be too good at doing that. What's your take on this, Eddie? What do you think of the Porsche's chances here?
Yeah, I kind of think they'd be quite well suited to Suzuka with a lot of, I don't know, just a lot of sweeping corners. Porsches always go through the corners, but as you say, there are a lot of long straights as well, which traditionally they're not very good at.
currently looking at the battle between Magnus Dahlgren and Damien Wilk. It's Ferrari versus a Lamborghini, the two Italians going at it. Or should we say Ferrari versus Audi, with number 21 Audi driven by Damien Wilk going round. He's also having to defend off from Xavier Eugeni, but luckily he's also got Ferenc Halvich as well to help him and try and put some pressure on Eugeni, force him into a mistake so that Damien can go ahead and focus on Dahlgren. But yeah, it's
Well, Dahlgren is currently doing a good job, slightly pulling away from Damien Wilk. Someone who has hands a little bit more full of work is Simon Trebek, as we saw him just coming into the shots slightly sideways, and there is an Aston Martin just spinning around, pirouetting, and that might have been debug probably in the 12th.
Could have been contact with that BMW there, possibly.
Not sure if BMW was involved in that, as he was behind Trebek, but that was a weird place to find the Aston. You could say that maybe if he's there, the drivers would see him at some point, but it's gonna be a long 20 minutes of this race for debug, if it was him in the end, for sure.
But that's the problem with hairpins on simulators, because not everyone has these kind of like 180-degree vision, like CVs all around them, so they can't look to the apex to see these unsighted cars that go sideways like the Aston. So it is unfortunate.
Just increase the FOV. It's simple.
Oh no! I need a good FOV. My FOV is my baby.
Wide FOV.
I seem to be the only one who has like 115 FOV or something like that.
Well, it's too weird for me to drive like that.
I just can see from the one side of the bonnet to the other and even out of the window. That's perfect. That's all you need to see.
I used to run with a head tracking thing, so I used to be able to look to the apex and look around the car. But it's just, yeah. The problem is I loved it, but it's so disorientating. Like, it's just easier to have a fixed view. That's why I'm not a big fan on the VR. It's great. It's a great gimmick. Like, well, I say gimmick. It's great if you're driving for a bit of fun, but when it comes to competitiveness, I definitely prefer having a fixed view. But look at this train.
VR can be fun. Especially I remember doing, I think those project cars at Monaco in the F1 cars with friends at night. Like for the first half lap I was just looking around, seeing all of the stuff in VR, like, whoa, what is this? And someone thinking what is this will be Niklas Kraus looking onto the back of the McLaren, having a really good detailed shot of the diffuser, trying to get into the slipstream on the back straight. But as you said, the Porsche does not have the legs. Probably will need a leg or two, and that's a lot of curb from Kraus there that shoots him all the way to the outside onto the marbles and dirty stuff. Manages to get back onto the track in front of his teammate Daniel Barnett. But that could have been a moment there for sure. You don't want to jump the curbs when you're at 130R.
As we have our holding that together, definitely.
And our leader Apostol is in the pit lane. That will be interesting to see where he comes out, because if he gets out in the traffic, that's gonna hamper his chances for the victory majorly. And we heard it time and time again from the leaders that you want to stay out for as long as possible, as long as you have the clean air. There is no need to drive into the pits.
Ooh, going very wide, Hugo Gomez. Can see cops trying to have a look around the outside of him, see if he can stick one in. But yeah, that's brilliant from him, trying to at least take advantage somehow. But yeah, we'll see how it goes for Cops and Gomez later on. But right now, yeah, the train ahead of him with, look at this, just an absolute kerfuffle. You've got Crawford Brown trying to defend Emo Plate as they go into the hairpin. It's just, see who comes out ahead. It looks like Crawford manages to stick it on the inside and keep it there, locking Plate from getting the drive. But there's a Lexus. There's a Lexus into the wall.
That would be Don Jordan, and that would be an easy mistake to do. Out of the hairpin, just get on the power as soon as possible. Just wanna easy little, then you just go flat and nope, the back end just does not comply.
Oh, it's a it's a proper bitch when it happens, but yeah, it's all part of car control and mistakes do happen. Nobody's perfect, unless although Max Verstappen is perfect. Oh, when this Crawford Brown bottles it, wow! And
Into
don't worry,
the
Crawford,
barrier.
we got that on stream for you because that was embarrassing.
Can you get that in replay?
He's trying to rejoin now.
Oh
dear,
dear.
Crawford. Falling back on with Hugo Gomez and Copsey, as they get a nice, easy, free position from Crawford bottling it. But yeah, let's see if that Lexus power can compare with the Lamborghini's power unit. Don't worry, I know it's an Audi, but yeah.
They are one
The
and the
engine
same.
was originally in a Lamborghini, then it got into Audi, and they just kept circulating it, and it finally is back in the Lamborghini again.
You know, they're the same car.
Well, yeah. I don't like either of them.
It looks like Apostle, our pole sitter, is he's back in the he's got a nice gap ahead of him, but it's only 4 seconds, and he's slowly catching up to Casper Nielsen, who hasn't pitted. So when he does get up to the back of him, he doesn't have to move. Nielsen can stay there and battle him all he wants. So you're right, Racer. Like he's just not. He shouldn't have pitted so early. It may harm him later on.
Not even that Casper does not need to fight. Even if he doesn't fight, they are gonna lose time in the end eventually. Because you need to get past the driver at some point. And if you catch him at the wrong point, like just arriving into the S section, he's not gonna move out of the way. And you have to go through all of that, through the Degners. Next part you can overtake him would be the hairpin.
And you've also got tyre wear as well, which could potentially play in, especially if, say, you have one driver who's pitted, for example, right at the beginning of the pit window, and another driver who's pitted right at the end. There are a fair few places here at Suzuka where the tyres, you can get a fair bit of graining as well for good measure.
Oh, he's Mr. Rogue.
Yes, I've finally managed to coax my computer into some form of working, but
Is the Mr. RSL studio himself? Wait, RSL? RLM? I don't know. It's the Radio Le Mans.
There's a reason why I'm only a producer.
It's only.
Yeah. We're
You're just here for the CV, aren't you?
It's been a cracking race so far. We're currently looking at Mad Al, currently down in 28th place at the moment in the Honda NSX as he comes through 130R. The car behind him, I unfortunately can't quite make out who that is, but they did go a bit wide there at 130R. I wonder if that will get called up for potential track limits, maybe. It's very easy to do at 130R as well, I should add.
Well, we don't have Alan Adon here, so maybe you can get away with just a little bit of track limits.
We might not have Alan Adon, but we do have our very own team of stewards without whom we would not be able to go racing with tonight, as there is an overtake at the hairpin. The Aston Martin number 17 has gone through. That's a move for 16th in the race.
Yeah, that was our race leader who pitted very early, and he did get stuck behind Casper a little bit. But yeah, he's managed to get the move done, and now he can progress forward with that massive gap ahead of him.
Quite an important move, possibly. Doesn't want to lose too much time while he's, he wants to have as much clearance as possible after the pit stop, doesn't he? Try and maintain the lead.
Well, seems like he has found that little bit of clean air after Casper. There should be at least what looks to be 8 seconds of a gap to car in front, which is Nate Newcomer.
Yeah, unfortunately for Apostle, Casper isn't a ghost, so he couldn't just drive for him. I love that little sympathy laugh from everyone.
I never drive into people. What are you talking about?
Currently
just that-
following now Xavier Eugenie in P12 with Debug behind him for number 12 Aston Martin. That'd be quite fitting if Debug can get the position. Number 12 Aston in P12, but Eugenie's not going to make it easy for him. Eugenie's been here before. He's done it all before, and yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes for him. But yeah.
If we are taking car numbers for race positions, then James Lacey is gonna have a really bad one.
It could be worse. It could be cops with the number 999.
Oh yeah,
Even worse.
Yeah, that's not going to. Good luck
Oh.
explaining that one when you get back to the pits, as there's
Got a
a
Honda off in the background.
Honda off at the hairpin.
is the. I have no idea who could that be.
Sorry, it's not Radek.
It's not Radek, it's not Crawford, and it's definitely not Mad Al. And I don't know who else is driving a Honda.
It could be a very interesting way of getting out of the way when you're blue flagged.
Yeah, but then at the
Blue
same time,
flag.
you're also potentially bringing gravel back onto the circuit as well. Suzuka is one of the few modern circuits on the modern Grand Prix calendar that still has fairly decent sized gravel traps on it compared to quite a lot of places. Paul Ricard most notably.
Yeah, because everyone loves Paul Ricard.
Oh, absolutely.
My personal favourite.
I kind of do like some parts of it. Like it
Oh
has.
no.
There is like a parts that work, but then there are parts that don't work.
Yeah, I love racing there in GT4s and just sitting at 250 kph for like 5 minutes on the back straight.
A long
That's
straight
just-
is quite something, yeah.
Down the Mistral, and I must say with Paul Ricard, the corner at the end of the Mistral straight scene is a proper corner in a GT3 car. Unlike in Formula One where it's just a flat out, you gently turn the steering wheel. In a GT car with nowhere near as much aero, it's an interesting proposition to say the least.
Yeah, but I said it a few times. If Paul Ricard had grass and gravel, people would like it more.
Oh yeah.
That's for certain.
Oh yeah, quite easily, like it used to back in the day. As Crawford Brown, I think, has gone through, or is at least almost level with Hugo Gomez, but Gomez has the inside coming out of the hairpin on the run up to Spoon Curve, but Crawford Brown is on the inside for Spoon, and can he get it done? He does. Gomez runs a bit wide.
Beautifully set up.
The Porsche absolutely mugs Hugo Gomez there.
Just snuck through after Crawford got through there.
Beautifully set up from Crawford for those two positions. But yeah, are they going to go side by side? Oh, they're not going to go side by side until 130.
No, because, well, I mean, I know Fernando Alonso's done it in real life, but then again, he is one of the few people who could actually do that in real life and have, well, the fact it was on Michael Schumacher as well as both Xavier Eugenie and another car. I didn't quite catch that. That's Hugo Gomez.
And both Spaniards into the pit lane.
One of the Porsches, I think, has pitted as well.
Yeah, that's Barnett.
Barnett as well have also come in for their mandatory pit stops in this race. There's still 4 and a bit minutes left on the pits window as we come up to 8 minutes to go here at Suzuka.
I think Barnett now come out. Apostle's still ahead of Barnett, so Apostle hasn't really lost P8, P9. He's still ahead of that if this pace continues. But yeah, I think we're in it for the long haul now to see if Apostle can take that P1 back from Radek after his early pit stop.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see where he is when Schuller does his pit stop.
We shall see in 4 minutes when the pit window closes. But Radek could steal this. We saw him do this also a number of times when he was behind someone and after the pit stops he emerged in front.
Aye, but it's just the fact that Radek had so much clean air in front, especially being in P1. It just, I'm not sure if he wanted a challenge to set him. Sorry, Apostle wanted a challenge ahead of him when he was in P1. But yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not 100% sure. It'll be interesting to see if he's managed to claw it back.
We did see him having to make a couple of overtakes off cars that hadn't pitted yet, so that could definitely have cost him a fair bit of time.
And on a circuit as relatively narrow as Suzuka, where if you run off the track, 9 times out of 10 you are definitely punished for it. As Kruger and the McLaren has come into the pits, the 6th place car has also come into the pits. Crawford Brown is also in the pits as well. So is
Well, almost everyone looks like.
And
people...
James Lacey, among others. We'll keep you updated as to who is or isn't in the pits, judging by where they are. And that means Apostle is now up into P8 provisionally, just waiting on this all to play out as we go on board with the number 19 BMW. Coming out the final corner and down onto the pit straight here at Suzuka. Past the cars.
Very close.
Oh, he was thinking about making it 3 wide with the Honda of Brown coming out of the pit lane. And he just backed off. And he had a good run on Kopse, so you have to give him that maybe there was an opportunity there for taking, even with the car coming from the pit lane. You don't get many opportunities around Suzuka.
You don't, but also the first corner at Suzuka is incredibly difficult to overtake at, I think, because it's a very fast entry and you're having to trail brake constantly all the time to try and actually slow down enough for the second part of the right-hander.
Yeah, but you can maybe scare your opponent just slightly, as we have a slight touch there between Kopse and the Honda, and as well Crawford Brown being involved in that, and there is Hugo Gomez just arriving on the scene, almost gaining another 2 positions. That was a weird moment, as who was the other Honda there? Just appeared out of nowhere.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
It was I don't know. Not Schiller, because Schiller's well up the road, as Debug has come into the pits, and so
everyone
has as well. By looks of things, everyone else coming into the pits. Could this be Apostle's chance to try and claw back the lead? So we're on board now, and yes, he is showing as being back in the lead of the race. And we're just now Schiller's behind him, and there's a back marker there. Gets out of the way through the S's, coming into anti-banked curve and heading now up towards Dunlop. Long left-hander here, and it is now with 3.5 minutes to go. Absolutely game on for the win here, because Schiller's tyres, they might not have the temperature, but they're going to be considerably newer and fresher than what's on Apostle's Aston Martin.
Well, fresher. Would you say that those 20-ish minutes could make as much of a difference on a tyre set? Because the Pirellis we use in the GT3 cars, I don't see as much of a difference when it comes to having a slightly fresher tyre.
I'll tell you what's worse than having old tyres, though. A stop-go 30-second penalty for Nicholas Kraus. That's going to hurt.
That's a big one.
Yikes. That is going to see the Porsche driver dropping pretty much out of the top 20 at least, maybe even the top 25 I think. And that could well be for the contact earlier on at the hairpin a few minutes
I
ago.
reckon he's sped in the
potentially.
pit lane. I
Or
reckon he's
There
gone too
is,
fast.
there's no
Maybe
live
that.
stewarding, so that's
Yeah.
gonna be the pit lane. It's so easy to do it, mainly around here.
Yeah, especially at Suzuka. That really long entry before you get to the line.
I think it's one of the skill sets you have to learn when coming to a circuit. Like where is the braking point for the corners, but even more importantly, where is the braking point for the pit lane? We even had an incident when one of the drivers didn't know exactly where was the line for the pit entry. Just as it was going slower through the line, another two cars coming behind just had to slam on the brakes, and there was a collision on the entry to the pits. So
Yeah,
it's
that was a
something
brutal Nürburgring.
So it's something that you have to learn. I would say it's quite an important thing. Niklas currently takes his stop and go. Probably just tries to get it out of the way and just finish the race with 1 minute remaining on the time.
Yeah, it looks as if next time round is going to be the final lap of the race, as we're currently looking at Damien Wilk in the Lamborghini, currently 17th place. Overall, there's a good little battle going on actually between him and one of the Lexuses, or
Yeah, that'll be
Lexuses
Nate Newcomer.
of Nate Newcomer, currently battling for P17 overall. We go on board with Newcomer in the number 97 Lexus, coming on the run up to Boone, keeps it tidy and aims to get as good an exit as possible. A little bit of counter steer there, I think, by the looks of things, as the back end just started to step out. It's not going to be terribly good for the long run up the hill to 130R.
Only watching Simon Turbovsek, just butchering everything. But yeah, you can see Crawford Brown looking down the inside at 130R, having a sneaky peek. But yeah, that's a hefty train of cars behind him. So if anyone makes a mistake here, there's a fair few position. Well, there's a position for a lot of cars. So a nice, easy, free position. But yeah, final lap now. So everyone's just got to keep their heads on straight and see what they can get at the end of the day. It's good news for Apostle, who's currently still leading it in P1 ahead of Radek Schuller. That gap is about 3 seconds, so it looks like Apostle, I don't know how, but he's managed to keep it after that early pit stop.
Yeah, it looks like that strategy's worked out pretty well in the end.
Currently still looking at the number 9 BMW in 12th place as they wind their way out of Degner Corner up towards the hairpin. Now looking at Hugo Gomez, currently 14th place, ironically enough actually, in the number 14 Audi, but I've noticed on the timing screen he has been hit with a drive-through penalty. And quite how one is supposed to take a drive-through penalty on the final lap of the race, well, yep, good luck trying that one, but that most likely will be converted into a time penalty, I would imagine.
Yeah, that's going to be a hefty time penalty as well.
Yes, because it's not exactly a short pit lane here at Suzuka, sadly.
You can't even micro-schumacher it by just going to the pit lane on the final lap and serving it that way. You actually have to exit the pit lane.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I see a couple of people try to do that and just realize, oh, I'm gonna get the time added on anyway.
Might as well just cross the finish line at full speed at that point and hope you've done enough, as everybody is currently crossing the line as we speak to end the first race here at Suzuka. We've still got the longer of the two races to come. Currently on board with the 58 BMW in 27th place. Matt Sjöblom just ahead of him in the Mercedes. And coming up to the Casio Triangle now, the final chicane here at Suzuka. So important to get a good exit there for the long run down the hill to turn 1. And they both cross the finish line. Just waiting for the last few drivers to take the checkered flag if they haven't already pitted, which I've noticed that some of them have. And that was the first of 2 races tonight here at Suzuka.
Yeah, I'm slightly lost for words. I wasn't expecting all that action all the way through. I'll be honest, it normally dies down midway through on some races at Suzuka, but this one, I think we had a battle for constantly. I think there was always something to switch to, which is fantastic news for not only these guys who are fighting for positions and trying to get those last few points they can before the season ends next week. But yeah, fantastic stuff for those guys who've managed to get all the high positions, especially to Apostle and Apostle, Schuler, Lacey, Kai Banks, Plate, Barnett. Those guys getting the top 6 positions respectively, done a fantastic job.
Those crucial points positions for the championship.
Okay, boys, I will have to leave you for the second race. Would really love to stay and watch it with you. But I hope it will be a nice one to enjoy.
All right, cheers for joining us, Racer.
Goodbye.
See ya.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
So, for those of us who are watching, haven't fallen asleep, don't know how you can fall asleep during all that. We've still got the second race coming up. It's the 45-minute race that starts at around 10. Well, I was about to say at 10 o'clock. It will start in about 5 minutes, so you still have time to go off to the toilet, quick bathroom break, get some drinks, but we'll still be here for the 45-minute race in 5 minutes.
Yes.
But
Oh. Yeah, it's been an interesting old race so far. I still do wonder what Suzuka would have been like if they hadn't built the final chicane and just ran it as a flat out downhill right-hander like it was originally onto the pit straight. But then again, Formula 1 safety requirements and all that meant, yeah, a corner with maybe 2 car sweeps of runoff area at that higher speed, even by 1980 standards, probably wasn't the best idea in the world, to put it mildly.
It would have been like Baku today, but even more possibly, even longer straight.
Yeah, well, I mean, back then 130R was actually a proper corner in a Grand Prix car as well, so it wasn't exactly the flat out almost kink it is nowadays, and it's why some drivers like Eddie Irvine, most notably in 1993, were able to have such strong debuts here because, well, Irvine had been racing in Japan for a few years at that point, I believe, and had a fair bit of experience racing here in what was, if I remember correctly, back then still the Japanese Formula 3000 Championship, now Super Formula, of course, but yeah, those were the days.
At the race where Senna got really annoyed with him and because he tried to unlap himself.
Yeah, that may or may not have ended up in a slight punch up in the
A fist fight.
a slight fist fight in the motorhome afterwards, but
Well,
we
they're
shall
very
gloss over
passionate,
that.
obviously.
Absolutely. As at the home of one of the rounds of the Intercontinental GT Challenge, the Suzuka 10 Hours, which in itself replaces the old 1,000-kilometer summer endurance race in Super GT, where a lot of these cars do still race, albeit on considerably different tyres. And actually, to the point where a lot of the kind of the European GT specialists in GT World Challenge Europe, for example, when they end up testing in Japan on the Super GT spec tyres, it comes actually as a bit of a culture shock to them in terms of just how much grip they've got underneath them. Because, of course, in Japan, you still have the tyre war in both the GT300 and the GT500 classes in Super GT, as we are coming up to a minute to go before the start of the second race here this evening at Suzuka.
Yeah, see the cars line up on the grid. Same grid positions as the previous race, just one quality session, so they take the same positions that they did previously. So it is, it's Apostle and Schuller on the front row. And we'll see, maybe the outcome will be different this time coming into turn one.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. You'd think Apostle has the advantage having the inside line for turn one, but at the same time, Schuller being on the racing line might have a little bit more grip when they eventually all put their foot down. We will be finding out very shortly indeed here, as we are 5 seconds or so away from the start, as they start coming around to the grid and the start finish line now. Remains to be seen who's going to get the jump, as James Lacey seems very keen for Apostle to get a move on a little bit there by the looks of things.
Yeah, definitely.
They come round to the Casio triangle now.
Yeah, see them weaving away a bit there, trying to get a bit of last minute heat into the tyres.
Or what little heat they can potentially get
Yeah, exactly.
into their tyres, as it's almost a Formula E-esque run in terms of distance between where the cars were and the actual start-finish line. It doesn't look like the tidiest of rolling starts, in all honesty, but they're getting lined up now. They've tidied it up magnificently, and we get underway here at Suzuka. Currently looking at MO plate in the McLaren, but it looks as if he's going to hold on around the outside for 6th place. Apostle is still showing as being in the lead.
Yeah, it looks like Schuller has slotted in behind him again.
Yep. Understandable, because Apostle did have the inside line for the corner. And yes, Apostle is indeed in the lead from Radek Schuller in the Honda NSX. James Lacey in 3rd place as they come through the S's.
Seeing a few yellow flags there again on the S's, possibly.
It's the first lap, and on a track as narrow as Suzuka, then it's, well, in all honesty, it is sort of inevitable. It's currently looking at Crawford Brown. He's got Kai Banks in the Mercedes right behind him. Cruz in 6th, Mo Plate in 7th in the orange McLaren. As they come out the hairpin, we're on board with James Lacey now looking backwards from the roof cam of the Porsche. Not the best top speed on this car, if we're being totally honest. It might be a little bit vulnerable on this long old run here up towards 130R, but the Porsche making use of the rear engine traction it has, and appears to have, and has indeed, kept Crawford Brown behind in the NSX. James Lacey has.
Yeah, it's all pretty much rank and file now. Everyone making their way through the chicane onto the pit straight, I should say. On board with Matt Hyam now.
Hyam or Higgin?
That's a good point, actually.
That is actually a really good question, yeah.
I just assumed it was Hyam, but you might be right.
I'm asking all the important questions. Always we see a Lexus in the not important part of a track. That's the runoff. That's where you don't want to be, but yeah.
At least it's
Going
time.
well. Yeah, at least it's time I can knock the wall.
Yeah. I think for the 12 hours later in the year, wherever that may be held at, might be worth actually trying to get a pronunciation guys. We're on board with the 52 Lamborghini currently in 27th place, Debug right behind in one of the Aston Martins.
Is that a Lambo? I thought that was an Audi.
It's showing up on the timing screen as being definitely a Lamborghini product. Product of Italy rather than product of Germany. Although, as you said
really
earlier
hard
on, it is effectively the same car underneath. On board, we're looking at Nicholas Cruz. I think it's
Hello,
Cruz
commentator.
in the number 911 Porsche, currently 7th place, and chasing down MO Plates McLaren. He's got an Audi behind him. They thinks. Oh, and that's one of the
Crawford Brown
Hondas.
off again, it looks like.
Crawford Brown bottling it again.
Someone
and there's
goes straight
cars
on
going
the
off
chicane.
everywhere at the chicane, including a Lexus as well.
It's like Jordan.
Yeah, Bollet Brown has done it again.
He strikes again. Same corner as well.
And yeah, and Radek Schiller is still definitely in second place as things stand, ahead of James Lacey and Kai Banks.
Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation for Crawford there. Didn't see what happened at the start of it, but he definitely there was definitely war contact, so possibly some damage there.
Yeah, and our wonderful stewards, without whom we wouldn't actually be able to have this race tonight, will most certainly already be looking at it, I'd imagine.
And you come there right up behind the Aston Martin.
Yeah, right, indeed, right up the. I was going to say right up the exhaust pipe of the Aston Martin, but I think the Aston Martin actually has side exit exhaust these days.
I can confirm.
Yep. Although he is definitely giving chase as we speak, as they head up on the run to Spin Curve.
Got a mirror full of Lexus grill there. Not usually what you want to see.
It's not the highest place of the Lexuses, but it's still all very incredibly valuable points for the Constructors Championship. As Kevin currently on board with Kevin Shepherd. Oh, there's a little bit of contact there, and the Mercedes behind him, I think that was Nielsen, has come off worse, and there was a definite collision there with another
looks
car.
like Tabovsek. So
Yeah,
on that one.
I would
think
go
he's
so
fun.
far as to say it's Dubovsek who has come off worst in that collision there.
Like a bit of a kind of concertina effect there, and he pretty much had nowhere to go.
Yeah. Easy things to happen here at Suzuka as well, in my opinion.
You can see the Aston using the very rich fuel mixture and confirming that the exhausts are on the side. You can see the flames just spitting out the sides on downshifts going into T1.
Yep.
Magnificent car. It's just a shame, you know. It's a shame the Astons aren't doing any better. You know, we've got so many Hondas and Porsches up in the top 10. It's well, we did have a bunch of Hondas up in top 10 until Botlett Brown came along. But we've still got a fair amount of Porsches up there, and that is surprising to me to see so many Porsches up in the top 8.
I mean, I'm starting to wonder whether this circuit actually does suit the Porsche quite well, because you can gain a lot of time in the many corners here at Suzuka. While there are a couple of long straights, realistically, you can probably gain a bit more time, relatively speaking, through the S's, through Dunlop, Degner, Spoon, etc., etc.
Yeah, quite a few traction zones as well. Porsche is ridiculously good acceleration-wise.
Yeah, especially coming out the hairpin and out the Casio triangle,
Yeah,
which we're going to be coming up to any second now. On board with Kai Banks in the Mercedes, as he does indeed come up to the Casio triangle.
Yeah, I don't think there's been any change of positions really in the top 6 or so.
Apart from one.
Ron, yes.
Yeah.
Can't mention him enough. But yeah, it's still possible leading. Schuller second, Lacey third. Godzilla runs a bit wide there.
And that's enough for Emo Plate in the McLaren to take the position. It's going to be for 4th place, which means that Plate is currently the highest placed of the McLarens as well, with Kai Banks actually being in the highest placed of the Mercedes entries for good measure.
Can't see any other Mercedes in the top 24 or so.
I think you're right on that one as well.
No, you got Kai Banks. Kai Banks in P5 in the Mercedes.
That's who we're talking about, yeah.
Yeah. And he is the lone charge for Mercedes. There's a yellow flag at the Casio triangle. Chicane, someone appears to have gone off there. There's one of the Nissans going a bit slowly coming out the hairpin, but there is still a yellow
They
dot
seem to be moving
at the Casio triangle, and you're right, they don't seem to be moving either. Hopefully you'll be able to confirm who that is fairly soon. Currently on board with Sebastian Apostle, so we might be able to see as someone who's definitely stopped in the runoff area. And who knows what may have caused that.
I mean, you get real world problems when you're sim racing, don't you? You get wheel disconnect. Sometimes you alt tab accidentally when a notification comes through. Sometimes the computer just dies or the graphics card just dies. So yeah, it does happen.
I think you get your brake pedal break occasionally. I think that happened to Max Verstappen once during the Spa 24 Hours on iRacing. His brake pedal went during his final stint, but thankfully his team had enough of a lead that they could return to the pits, lose a lap, and stay in the lead.
But there was that guy during the RF2 Le Mans, Virtual Le Mans last year, whose simulator died, and he just swapped out the entire race.
I think that was Pagano. I think that was
Pagano.
Pagano, former IndyCar champion and Indy 500 race winner. sports car
Whoa.
ace as well in the American
Nissan
Le
off
Mans
there.
series. The Nissan goes
Very out of shape and into the gravel.
very out of shape. It's not the easiest car to try and tame for Nissan, but it appears to be doing quite well. There's two currently in the top 12, Podofsky and Hyam Higham. Not 100%
Not
sure
decided on that one yet.
if we can decide on the correct pronunciation. Excuse me. Yeah. Currently looking at
was
the
that
McLaren
another
of
Nissan
Kroger.
off.
another Nissan off?
Another Nissan has gone.
Podolsky that time, I think.
Podofsky, yeah, it's definitely cost him at least one position to Lemke. And indeed, Lemke has moved up to 10th place in the Lamborghini.
Commentator's curse maybe on the Nissans.
Maybe,
I
but it's
mean,
a Japanese
probably.
car, isn't it? So you'd have thought.
Let's have the
it-
home advantage.
And also in real world racing, Hoshino-san has announced his retirement from Super GT at the end of this season, so maybe a factor. Who knows at this point? On board with Podofsky in the Nissan as Hyam Higham has dropped a few positions, now down to 16th place in the number 16 car.
I'm telling you,
Yeah.
it's all linked. Gomez and P14 as well with the number 14 Audi.
Back in P14.
Yeah, I'm telling you, it's all linked.
Yeah.
We just need Debug. Debug's going to have an absolutely stonker of a race and get up
He's
to
got to gain a
P12
few
and
positions.
P23.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like Newcomer's still right on the back of Milinovic here in the 58 BMW. Still trying to get past, but the nature of Suzuka perhaps stopping him from doing that.
And the pit window is now open as well, so who knows, maybe doing what Apostle did earlier, get the pit stop out of the way, try get some clean track. Who knows, maybe Debug could indeed finish 12th still.
Yeah. Get a very big undercut maybe.
Yeah, massive undercut. I don't fancy Nate Newcomer's chances of finishing in 97th though. Don't think we have enough cars on track for that. Not this
Except
weekend.
for the Suzuka Big Grid, yeah.
Exactly, we've got the big grid race coming up. Well over 100 cars due to take part here at Suzuka. To quote an ancient philosopher, can't remember which philosopher it was who said this, what can possibly go wrong?
Yeah, that was me.
Yes, it was indeed
Yeah.
Chief. Yeah. Philosopher there. And indeed,
there we
Nate
go.
Newcomer does decide to go for the undercut and get his pit stop out the way very early on. There's still over half an hour left here in this race at Suzuka.
I think that's probably the right thing to do for him. If he was stuck behind the BMW for that long, probably a good idea to give it a go for the undercut.
He's not the only one, because Debug and Cops here, I think, and a couple of others have all pitted as well. Try and get the undercut, get some clean track, and try and force their way back up the order while everyone else is still racing each other. And we're looking at Samuel Kruger in the 360 McLaren, currently 9th place. He's got Lemke right behind him in the Lamborghini. On the brakes for the hairpin. Both getting a pretty decent exit out of there as well. Hard on the brakes for Spoons. The Lamborghini going a little bit wide by the looks of things there, as Higham in the Nissan is currently battling with the Aston Martin behind him. Aston Martin trying to get past the somewhat recalcitrant handling Nissan by the looks of things.
Oh, that's a fancy word.
That is.
I'm going to need to get Google for that one.
Yeah, definitely a bit battered, that Nissan.
Yes, it's definitely a bit battered, and methinks there might well be some kind of issue with the suspension. Maybe the toe's been knocked, maybe the caster's out a bit, but either way, that Nissan is not handling quite how it should be when it left the factory.
Just looking for a way past, but can't quite do it. The Nissan still has the edge on the straight, it looks like.
Well, that'll happen when you knock off all your dive planes, you know, half your front's missing. Just get rid of all those unnecessary aerodynamic devices that just create so much drag, don't they?
You're saying there was a
Yeah.
tactical decision to go
Of
off
course.
the track?
I mean, I think also from an actual aerodynamicist's perspective that the big canodes on the front of a car is actually possibly one of, if not the single most inefficient ways of trying to generate downforce. I mean, yeah, it works if you're trying to drive up Pikes Peak. When you're trying to build a GT3 car, not the most efficient solution, it has to be said.
It creates so much drag as well with the splitter.
Yeah.
Like the splitter,
Oh.
the problem is it can't have a proper efficient front wing,
Yeah.
which wasn't working there for Mr. Schakowsky.
Yeah, almost lost it on the brakes there, it looked like.
It almost looked as if for a brief moment he was going to attempt to try and actually get the undercut through the hairpin. But it just looks as if he kind of messed up his braking point ever so slightly there. So we're currently looking at Xavier Eugeni in the BMW M6 GT3.
Can't wait for the M4.
And
think
I
it
can
would be
actually
a big
understand why now the grille on the M4 has been designed the way it is. It's purely to accommodate the needs of the GT3 car, as I think Sergio Lemke is in the pits for his mandatory pit stop. And I think Eugenie might, and Damien Wilk as well, might they be in for a chance of getting the position? They have indeed. I think Simon Trebek's gone through as well in the Bentley, and so has Jaime in the Nissan, as Lemke has gone down the field. Currently on board with MO plate in the McLaren, 4th place overall in a car which you'd think would suit this circuit quite well.
Yeah, the
interesting to
McLaren's
see
got
that the,
excellent brakes, doesn't it?
yeah, definitely. Interesting to see that the front runners they're still really close together on track. I think Godzilla is really right up behind them as well. Yeah, see him there. Nice little train forming.
Nice little battle for 3rd place. Definitely brewing here. Come through Spoon Curve. It's really most likely going to be a case of he who dares blinks first for the pit stops. Radek Schiller there in the NSX with Sebastian Apostle just ahead of him in the Aston Martin leading the race.
I wouldn't be surprised if we saw Plate come into the pits quite soon. Maybe try and undercut on Lacey there.
Was that Schiller though? I don't think so. That might have been
That was a back
another
marker.
NSX back marker. Excuse
Yeah.
me. Sorry, I do apologise for that, getting in the way there. And we do indeed see Radek Schiller, I think, right there on track. Currently back with Xavier Eugeni. Currently trying to fend off Simon Trebek, while at the same time trying to find a way past Damien Wilk. Neither of those things being terribly easy, but even more so here at Suzuka.
Yeah, the
Yes.
BMW and the Bentley, quite similar cars in how they both kind of big boats. So it's interesting to see whether, they're probably quite similar characteristics, so it'll be interesting to see if either of them can have a go at each other.
And you'd think the GTR as well, also being a proper four-seater, would have similar characteristics, but Hyam is currently in the pits. The BMW ahead of him is just leaving the pits. I think that's Miladhovic, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, in the BMW, currently in 20th place. Hyam's out the pits as well. Matt Stjöblom being currently in the middle of a group of drivers who have pitted, but he hasn't yet. In the Mercedes, as the front runners are all seemingly trying to see who blinks first.
Well, Hugo Gomez looking up the inside into 130R.
Brave. You really need to be alongside the driver in front of you, ideally, and hope that they are somewhat cooperating or just simply aren't willing to have a go at it. And Gomez makes a very late call there to come into the pits from 11th place, and with just over 22 minutes left to go for a Racing Sim Tools update. It's mid-race. It's Sebastian Apostel leading from Radek Schiller in the Honda NSX. James Lacey is currently third. Emo Plate, who we are currently on board with, heading up to Degner, is in 4th place. And Kai Banks is rounding out the top 5. Got Jordan in 6th, Kraus 7th, Kruger 8th, Barnett 9th, and Badowski is rounding out the top 10. And a huge shout out to Racing Sim Tools and SimSock, our sponsors here at RWB, for their continued support of the server and the YouTube channel as well.
Yeah, I mean, do love having the sponsors on board, because especially for me, my feet get very slippery and sweaty, so I do love having sim socks to actually keep my feet on the pedals. But also, I like to have a car that's not only planted to the track like my feet are to my pedals when I'm wearing sim socks. I just love having a car that's actually planted and does what you want it to, like from Racing Sim Tools, with the data that allows me to fine tune the setups that they give out. So it's fantastic stuff from those guys to sponsor all this and keep us racing.
You are such a professional.
Hashtag sponsor me.
Hashtag sponsored. As Nicholas Kraus comes into the pits from P7 in the 911 Porsche, currently looking at James Lacey in the number 997, currently 3rd place. Emo Plate still right behind him as they come through the S's.
Yeah, these three still pretty much exactly where we last saw them, seems like.
Yep. Not the Suzuka not being the easiest circuit in the world to overtake on, but it doesn't half make it satisfying when you do pull off an overtake around here, as Simon Tribeck has also pitted as well, or at least come into the pits. Kraus has rejoined in 12th place. The field just, our timing screen just cycles through a little bit. Just under 20 minutes to go, and time running out indeed on the pit windows. Just over 5 and a bit minutes left by the looks of things. So any pit stops for the leaders will have to come within the next 3 laps, maybe, I'd imagine, given their relative positions on circuits. We'll try to update you when they do happen. We're still focusing on James Lacey, and into the pits actually has come Sebastian Apostel from the race lead, which means Radek Schuller and James Lacey, Mo Plate, Kai Banks have all got a very crucial couple of laps coming up. So we go back to the somewhat battered looking Nissan number 16 of Matt Hyam.
Yeah, he's got Simon Trebek for company there behind him.
Yep. And the way the Nissan has been handling this race, it might not be too long before Trebek, dare I say it, finds a way past in the Bentley. A couple more pit callers, Barnett being one of them. The number 13 Mercedes also pitting as well for good measure. As the battle here for 19th place comes through 130R into the Casio Triangle chicane. Trebek aiming to get a good exit out the corner. In fact, they both seem to have made a good exit, and Trebek's gone, ooh, crikey, very lurid moment coming out onto the pitch straight there for Simon Trebek in the Bentley. That's put him into the clutches of Damien Wilk and gives Matt Hyam all the gap he needs to potentially have a little bit of a buffer.
Yeah, big oversteer moment there. Looked like it's very easy to do that at that corner because you're trying to get all the power down and turn a corner at the same time.
Yeah,
which is pretty tricky.
It reminds me of Learcop at Kyalami as well, where you quite often feel the back of the car starting to go slightly light as you get the power on and come over the crest and start heading down the hill as well.
Yeah, you have to be a bit cautious on the throttle there. Try not to spin the wheels and make sure you get a good exit.
Yeah. Still a few drivers, Xavier Eugenie, Dahlgren, Badowski, all yet to pit. And with not an awful lot of time, speaking of which, Eugenie does come into the pits, as does and a lot of drivers coming into the pits. Kruger as well in the McLaren. And Eugenie has also come into the pits for good measure.
Yeah. Jordan and Kruger coming out of the pits now, it looks like.
Yeah. Currently on the run up towards 130R. As battle for 18th place comes up to the Casio Triangle chicane, and Trebek, showing his speed there, has managed to close the gap back up to the Nissan, and they just go a little bit wide. It looks
almost
like
put a wheel on the dirt there. Not what you want to do.
Yeah, not ideal coming onto the pit straight at Suzuka. And Kai Banks is currently in 5th place still. James Lacey is actually behind him as Radek Schuller, Mo Plate, and Budowski is still yet to pit. No doubt they're going to be trying to cut this as fine as possible as they come up towards Spoon Corner.
Yeah, so Kai Banks there looks like he successfully jumped Lacey in the pits. Pretty sure Lacey was in 3rd place before, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
Was indeed. And Kai Banks was in 5th. They had Mo Plate between them, although Schuller and Plate are in the pits as we speak.
Yeah, I wonder where Plate will come out in relation to these two.
Budowski looks... No, he's come in, showing us pitting as well. So this is well and truly game on for the top 4 or 5 here. We might have to wait a moment or two. There's a car coming out the pits there.
It looks as though Plate's jumped both of them.
It does indeed look as if Plate has actually rejoined in front. Badowski's dropped back down to 6th place, and Plate has indeed retained his position ahead of Kai Banks, but both of them having jumped. James Lacey, who is looking very racy indeed in the Porsche. Radek Schuller is back down to 2nd place. Sebastian Apostel has retaken the lead as well in the Aston Martin. Currently we are on board with James Lacey as they head up to Degner.
Oh, getting a bit out of shape there.
In the easy thing to do in the Porsche as they come up towards the hairpin. And the thing with the drivers who've just pitted, their tyres are going to be a lot colder than, for example, the likes of James Lacey and Kai Banks. And James Lacey has lost it big time. Is he going to hit the wall?
Yeah.
Oh, he's kissed the wall with the rear, and has also given it a decent old whack with the front end as well. And that looks as if his charge for a podium might well be over with for tonight.
Yeah, he must be a bit frustrated with that. Looked like he just put a little tiny wheel on the grass, and that was enough to spin him out.
Well, we're seeing that with every driver. We've seen so many people going off. Ooh, as
Ooh,
you see there,
contact.
everyone's just pushing so hard right now. And yeah, that's unfortunate.
Nissan's
Contact
round.
happened.
With Matt Hyam in the Nissan.
Looks like Damien got past both of them in that manoeuvre.
Damien,
Yeah, he's got
Indeed.
past.
I think he has.
Yeah, it looked like the Bentley braked a little bit too late into the hairpin, tapped the Nissan, and one of them went off on the inside, one on the outside, and Damien went, thank you very much, straight through the middle.
Yep. Straight through the middle, and without getting any damage on the car for good measure. Which means that he obviously took the best line, which was, of course, the one which was on the grey bit, not the green bit. And we currently looking at the battle for 14th place. We've got Lemke in 15th, and we've got a Lexus in front of him. Unfortunately, I can't quite make out who's driving the Lexus.
That's Rock Copsey.
Copsa, thank very much. Copsa in 14th, and we can look back at Matt Hyam, who has had an, well, eventful race so far, I think it's fair to say.
Yeah, got 3 cars bearing down on him now. Bit of added pressure for him.
Yep, he's got one of the Aston Martins, he's got Trebek's Bentley, and he's got Shepard's Ferrari, all wanting to try and get past him. It's not going to happen at the S's, because you can't really overtake through there. They all come filing through Degner, and they're all catching at the same time. Damien Wilk in the 21 Lamborghini. It's going to be a very interesting battle for 18th as we head into we're into the final 10 minutes here at Suzuka.
Looks as though they're actually quicker than Damien, but he obviously managed to get through with that incident, so it will be interesting. Obviously they're going to be right behind him now. Oh, Trebek on the grass there.
Yes, the Aston Martin goes wide at Spoon. Trebek goes through. Shepard can't get past the Aston Martin. And it's looking incredibly close. Is Shepard going to have a try at 130R? No, he's not, wisely. And is he going to... He's not going to have a lunge on the brakes into the Casio Triangle either. Currently looking at Magnus Dahlgren in the 13th placed Ferrari.
Seems like everywhere you look, there's close battles at the moment.
Yeah, I'm struggling to find. I'm struggling to see which one we should be focusing on.
Yeah.
I don't think even. I mean, even Pitwall right now would just be emphasising how close everything is at the moment. It's poised to be an exciting finish here at Suzuka.
Looking at Badowski and Newcomer now. Newcomer looks like he's right all over the back of Badowski there in the Nissan. Looking to try and nab P9.
Got Cos in the chat saying, "Go on, Nate." He's really cheering him on, is he, in that RWB livery.
Yeah. And for the benefit of anyone who was wondering what the word recalcitrant meant when I mentioned it earlier, according to a certain online search engine,
So of a dictionary.
yes, which also has its own built-in dictionary type thing. It means having an abstainedly uncooperative attitude towards authority or discipline. Derives from the Latin word recalcitrant, which means kicking out with the heels.
Like
Is
a
it right?
horse.
Yes. And the Nissan not being the easiest car to drive, and given how far Higham, I don't think we're going to be able to decide this evening how to pronounce your name. I'm so sorry. Judging by the way that car has gone down through the field, it would be fair to say that that would be a fairly apt description of the Nissan.
Speaking of horses and kicking the heels, we've got the prancing horse right now of the number 90 car, Magnus Dahlgren in P13, battling it out. He's got Don Jordan ahead of him. But he's also got Kopse and Lemke battling it out behind him as well. So he's going to be needing all the horses he can get from that V8 engine in the back of him to try and propel him forward.
Lexi.
Yeah. I think surely the plural for Lexi is Lexus.
It depends if you go with the Latin origin of words.
Oh, true. Yeah.
You could argue
Forgot about that. We're still on board with Magnus Dahlgren as he comes out the hairpin up towards a spoon curve in between two slices of Lexus bread. He's the Ferrari prancing horse meat in the
It's
sandwich.
Like Tesco's.
It may or may not be.
No comment.
No comment. Probably for the best before legal counsel gets involved. We've got yellow flags as well. And back to green again. On the run from between the hairpin and spoon, there's a brief yellow flag there.
So it looks as though Lexus are actually in quite a good position for the championship. They've got 3 of their cars in pretty good positions at the moment. Obviously, Honda have got Schuller in 2nd place though, so I don't know if that's enough to outweigh having 3 other cars in the points.
Although it could quite easily have been better. Dahlgren has spun it, lost it on the brakes heading into turn 1 there, which is incredibly easy to do, it must be said. Unfortunate mistake from Dahlgren. That sees Kopse move up the field, and quite a few drivers as well for that matter.
Was that a tactical swap for the Lexus between Don Jordan and Kopse? It looked like Jordan let Kopse through.
Could be. I don't know why they would be up to that, but
Team orders, mate. Team orders.
true. I don't know what they would achieve by doing that, but yeah.
team orders, or just blame it on yellow flag related confusion at turn
Yeah, it's
one?
just blame it on the yellow flags.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah, unfortunately for Dahlgren, too many horses were called and that blitz the rear tyres into turn one.
Of course, the Ferrari does have a couple of very, very peaky engine maps, shall we say, namely map 1 and map 2, which is why I think even in real life, apparently from what I've read, they used map 3 most of the time because map 1 and map 2 are that violent and aggressive.
Roll like a switch, maybe.
Yeah, pretty much. It might as well be the equivalent of a light switch on map 1, the way the power kicks in as we go look at Budowski in the highest placed Nissan, and indeed the only Nissan in the top 10. He's got one of the Lexuses of Nate Newcomer,
Trying to go around the
and
outside.
Newcomer tries to do a
Oh.
Raikkonen, runs a little bit wide though.
I think he just got on the marbles there and didn't quite have the grip to hold it around the outside, but he's still right on his tail.
Just being patient, biding his time as they come through the S's, because let's face it, it's not an overtaking opportunity. Degner, you can overtake there, but you do really have to be alongside, so he could well be setting something up for a move at the hairpin.
Maybe trying to force an error as well from Budowski there.
Yeah,
Just try and get as close as he can.
and coming up now towards Spoon. We'll see if Nate Newcomer has another go in a lap's time. We go on board with Casper Nielsen in the Mercedes. He's got Debug right behind him. He on board the bumper cam of Debug, heading up towards Spoon Curve as we speak, with just over a minute left on the clock.
Just noticed the two leaders look like they're very close together at the moment. Could be a tasty battle going on there.
Between Apostle and Schiller.
Still right on his tail, it looks like.
And could this be the final lap for these two as well? Because there's only just under 40 seconds left.
I can confirm this will be the last lap for them. Unless they do a
Okay.
1 minute 50 lap.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's they're both incredibly good drivers, but that's unlikely. Schiller
Looking to the
has
inside.
a little look
no.
at the inside, but goes wide at Spoon, and surely this has given Apostle the gap he needs. He can't exactly cruise 100%, but that has pretty much, I think, secured him the win. That mistake there from Schiller. Mo Plate still third, pulled out a bit of a gap over Kai Banks, who's pulled out an even bigger gap over James Lacey in the Porsche. And Sebastian Apostle crosses the line to take the win here at Suzuka, with Radek Schiller second in the Honda. Mo Plate coming home third for McLaren, and Kai Banks crossing the line in a very good fourth place in the Mercedes. So we're currently looking at James Lacey coming out of the Casio Triangle and coming home in fifth ahead of Nicholas Kraus in another one of the Porsches. So we wait for Simon Kruger, Daniel Barnett as well, crossing the line. Badowski in the Nissan, and Nate Newcomer unable to find a way through there in 10th place. And it's really, there's 11th, 12th, Lemke 13th, Hugo Gomez home in 14th. Just seeing them home now. Jordan 15th, Dahlgren, Eugenie. Few back markers having crossed the line already, and we're just waiting on Damien Wilk. Now, as this gaggle of cars comes across the line, Wilk from Tribeck, from one of the Aston Martins, Nielsen, Shepherd, Debug there in 23rd. Got only a Lamborghini, and I think one of the Aston Martins still to go.
There we go.
There we go. That was the second race here at Suzuka. Another win for Sebastian Apostel there over Radek Schiller. And we are joined here in the commentary box by Nate Newcomer as well. So, Nate, how was the race from your point of view?
Yeah, we saw you having a lengthy battle with Badowski there in the second race.
Perfect. Well, that rounds out the penultimate round for the Constructors Championship at Suzuka. Next week, next Tuesday is the very final round where it comes to the decider. Actually, we'll find out when all the points get totted up, all the stewards' inquiries get finished on who's actually ahead, and we'll keep you updated with that at the start of the next round next week. But yeah, thanks for joining us. Thanks to all our sponsors, Racing Sim Tools and SimSock, for making all this possible, and for all the admins and stewards who do all the work behind the scenes to keep this going. But yeah, you two, quick word, how did you two find tonight's race?
Action-packed.
Nice.
That's a quick word.
And how about you?
Like a game of chess, but involving GT3 cars.
Lovely. can't beat that description. But yeah, from me, Eddie, and Rob, thanks for joining us, and hope to see you all next week. Thanks for joining us.